Welcome to another episode of the Daily Chat Podcast, where we talk about all things awesome and nerdy. Joining me today, as per usual, is Dan Tundis. Dan, welcome back.
Oh, hi, Kyle.
Oh, hi, Dan. So we got a few things on the docket today. First things we're going to be doing is we're going to review the new James Franco, Seth Rogen movie, Dave Franco movie, The Disaster Artist.
Gray Point Productions, but yeah.
Yeah, right. We're going to review that, then we're going to give a quick synopsis of The Punisher, and then the biggest trailer to have ever dropped in the history of all trailers.
Is it?
I mean, it reached number one on YouTube's most viewed in a day.
Yeah, but I feel like everything's always breaking like YouTube records
True.
And box office records nowadays. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
one of those things that we live in an era of record breaking everything.
Right. Yeah.
We're always breaking records.
Because that's what America does.
Because we live in the future.
We live in the future.
And the future's freaking dope.
Exactly.
You know, I think this is, since we're talking about The Disaster Artist, I think this is the first non-comic book movie we've ever reviewed. And beyond that, this is the first movie we've ever reviewed where I go, yeah, it could be nominated for an Oscar. And like something that wasn't like visual effects or makeups and costumes. You know,
right,
like
exactly.
one of the technical awards, which are still very important. I'm going to say that.
Right.
But like nothing that could fall to get into like a Best Picture nod or a
Best script or something like that.
yeah, writing or supporting, you know what I mean, where like the cast actually like did something worthwhile. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
Power Rangers.
No.
We're not
No.
reviewing, Pacific Rim 2.
No,
which
not
we
yet.
will.
Not
which we
yet.
will.
We will.
But I think this is the first movie we've ever reviewed where it's like, yeah, that could get an Oscar.
Yeah, I could definitely see this getting nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, I could see it getting nominated.
Right.
We'll have to see. We're just in the throes of Oscar season now with a lot of movies coming
Right.
out, which are going to be a lot of like the touch point pictures of the emotional spectrum and beyond the summer blockbusters of just
Right.
the pop and fizz.
The movies where you need to think.
Right, the thinking movies, which are not my favorite kind of movies, but
At least not to see in theaters.
not if I'm going to spend the money on it.
That's my argument,
Yeah.
yeah. So at any rate, just a quick synopsis of The Room is would you call this a biographical film? I would think I would. A slightly
The
biographical
Room is about an all-American man named Tommy who works at a bank and will do anything for his princess and future wife. As he so often describes Lisa, which then becomes a love triangle with Mark,
his best friend.
And becomes the most overcomplicated love triangle movie with a ton of empty plot threads that go nowhere.
Right, like breast cancer,
Drug deals,
football,
in tuxedos.
lots of football and tuxedos.
Yeah, it is. I heard someone describe it as, I think it was the author of the book, The Disaster Artist. Someone described it as if an alien made a movie, but had never seen a movie, but had been told what movies are supposed to look like, made a movie.
That makes total sense.
Right. Made, of course, by the absolutely astounding Tommy Wiseau.
Oh my god. He probably is an alien.
He probably is. Nobody knows where he's from. It's probably
Or how old he is.
It's probably like Mercury or one of the moons of Jupiter. He's probably from.
So he is the Mad Titan.
Right. So this actually is a comic book review
God.
at the end of the day.
Somehow we just managed to bring it all the way back to
We
that.
did. We came full circle on it.
Exactly. Way to go, us. It's what kind? This is a weird one because it definitely is a funny movie, but I don't know if it can be considered like a true comedy.
I guess dramedy.
Yeah.
It's a drama comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not funny in the way that
that you expect a Seth Rogen
Superbad
movie.
or This Is the End or any of his any of his other movies with James Franco, Seth Rogen,
The Interview, yeah.
The Interview, or any other really Gray Point Productions. It takes itself very seriously. It doesn't make a joke out of it. It tells it how
it was,
or
at least how you feel the way it was, based on the few interviews I've seen of Tommy Wiseau.
It's based on a true story,
and The Room. So
yeah, it tells it how it was, just and how it was completely ridiculous and completely outlandish and not like outlandish in a way that like crazy things haven't been, but like just I don't know, like working in the industry in film and television, it like struck a chord because I've definitely worked on productions before where like it's trash, like from the day you walk through the door you're like, this is garbage, this is going to be terrible, and I've definitely worked on productions where I've been surprised when the check cleared. And I've worked on productions when I've been surprised that like, wow, people actually watch that, like that's incredible. So it struck a couple of chords for me that I didn't know it was going to. That I found it more relatable than I really thought I was going to, which is why it was so cringeworthy and so hard to watch.
It was hard to watch in a weird way, but like it was like the most beautiful train wreck you've ever seen in your life.
I have never watched a movie through my fingers like it was a horror movie and I was 6 years old. Like I did with The Room. Like during parts of that movie, I wanted to crawl under my seat and just wait.
I saw you, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to crawl under my seat and just wait for it to be over. I was like, this is so bad. It's so cringeworthy. And like, I mean, it did a good job, and why I think it will probably end up with an Oscar nod is it is one of those movies that like it evokes such an emotion, and like whatever emotion that is, whether it's
but you empathy, feel like it was supposed to,
almost. Whether it's empathy or inspiration or whether whatever, like it evokes an emotion out of you, and that's what true cinema does. And this evoked the emotion of embarrassment from me. I was just mortified for everyone that took part in the making of that movie. I was abashed. I felt so badly.
The big thing I want to say is this might be James Franco's best role in a weird way, or it's up there at the very least.
You didn't like Fly Boys?
I haven't seen Fly Boys.
Where he plays the World War I pilot?
I know, and that was like a weird love story or whatever.
So bad.
I mean, I definitely liked it better than Harry Osborn in Spider-Man 3.
What? How are you going to say you didn't like
in
Harry
Spider-Man
Osborn?
3.
Spider-Man 3, true.
In Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
It was really bad, but that wasn't his fault. That was the movie's fault.
Right. I liked it when James Franco played himself in This Is the End. That's definitely my favorite, like, Point Grey. Is it Point Grey or Grey Point? I think it's Point Grey.
I don't know.
I think it's Point Grey.
I still go with Pineapple Express.
Yeah,
that's my favorite of those movies.
Yeah. Super bad.
Yeah, but I don't count that one just because it wasn't Seth Rogen, James Franco.
No, it was just Seth Rogen in a very small part.
And
Michael Cera,
Jonah Hill. And McLovin.
Yeah.
No one knows what his real name is.
Yeah, they do. He's around. He does some stuff.
I know. He was in the first what do you call it? Neighbors.
He was in Neighbors.
He was in Neighbors.
He was very much in Neighbors.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, so what would you say were some of the highlights of this movie?
I feel like Seth Rogen was a highlight of this film. I think that, oh man, I don't know. That highlights of the movie, I could tell you what my least favorite parts of the movie was, and we didn't get enough Seth Rogen laugh.
Right.
That bugged me.
That infectious stoner laugh that he has.
Dave Franco's beard and hair was awful. Just so bad. It was the worst glue-on job and dye job I've ever seen, which, like, to its credit, like, made the movie better because it was so bad. Like, there were certain points to it where it felt like an homage.
Like, just almost saying, like, we know how bad this movie is.
Yeah, like, we know how ridiculous this is, and, like, look how ridiculous Dave Franco looks. And I just couldn't take my eyes off. And, like, the relationship between Tommy Wiseau and I don't even know his real name. Greg, whatever Greg's last name is.
Yeah.
Was, like, so weird, but, like, innocent at the same time.
Right.
Like, they really were just friends, and they really were just trying to chase an impossible dream of being famous in Hollywood. And, like, it was really authentic from the way that, like, the Franco brothers were able to play it. And, like, you really got the sense of their relationship, like, how James is a little bit more outlandish and Dave is kind of the one who's always, like, he seems to be a little bit more reserved. Yeah, and, like, trying to catch up to, like, match that energy. Right. You know, and, like, he has to, like, push himself so much harder for James it just kind of like comes a little bit more naturally.
Yeah.
And I think that really like rang true, and it really helped the movie. Like,
right.
I don't know if that's exactly how it is in real life. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Dave Franco is like swinging from the rafter as well. You know, James is reading Edison. I don't know.
Right.
But that's how I assume their real life relationship is like.
Right.
But
you definitely do get a little bit of that feel.
yeah, you do.
I also think it's because of that James Franco gets just a little bit more work than Dave Franco.
Yeah, James Franco has been around longer, and James Franco just kind of ended up getting casted into a couple of different things that pushed him further into stardom. And
right.
I think Dave, for better or worse, is always kind of looked at as James Franco's brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how would you feel like if you were one of the other Hemsworth brothers?
There are other Hemsworth brothers?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. And they all look like the other one.
Yeah.
Like, they all look like Thor.
Yeah.
But not enough to be Thor.
Exactly.
Right. So you kind of end up always in this like weird second, and not to discredit them because what they're doing is still great work.
Yeah.
But like, you're still not Thor.
Right, exactly.
Like,
I mean, it's kind of tough though to like live up to, your brother. It's literally like, oh, you're so. Congratulations, Bill. You became a doctor. Your brother's a god of lightning.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Your brother grossed $1 billion in China over the weekend.
Yeah. What did you do?
But I'm really happy that
that you're able to save lives and everything like that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Not save $1 billion worth of lives, but you saved lives.
Yeah,
good for you.
That you were a pediatric surgeon.
Right.
Like, good for you, but
Right.
That's just a problem with America, I think.
Right.
I think that's just a bigger problem with our culture than it is with discrediting their accomplishment.
Right.
But anyways,
no, I mean, props to anybody who tries. If anything,
it was such a weird movie, and it's funny because it had a runtime of like an hour and like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Or so, and I really expected a much longer movie, but it actually, because it felt like it was such a story.
Yeah.
Like this weird dude who moves to Los Angeles to make this weird movie and then premieres it, and then it like goes into this whole cult stardom. But somehow it paced it out really well, so that way I didn't leave the movie feel like I was lacking in any one area. Like,
exactly.
I think it would have been cool to see a little bit more of how that movie became a cult following, but at the same time, like where they left it at the end of the premiere of The Room was a perfect way to wrap it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It was it. Like, there was really no more story after that. We all, culturally know what The Room has like taken on.
Right.
Like, they showed us that movie in film school as an example of what not to do. They were like, this is The Room. This is how you write bad dialogue. This is how you cut a sequence that makes no sense. This is bad character blocking. This is bad acting.
Right. I mean, I never studied it in that kind of a sense, but I've seen like reviews of it, and I've seen the movie. It's been a while, but I've seen.
I wouldn't say we studied it. I would say I would equate it to when you saw those car crash videos in Driver's Ed.
Okay.
Of this is why you shouldn't drink and drive or text and drive. You know what I mean? It's not like you could say oh yeah, I studied why not to drink and drive. It was no, it was pretty clearly shown to me what would happen if you do bad things. You get bad movies.
It almost feels like that this movie is it's kind of like the Hollywood ending in a sense where he loses but somehow wins. Whereas in Hollywood, most other, it's you win because you win. Well, he won because he lost.
I think it speaks to movies that are outside of the zeitgeist and outside of like traditional Hollywood, whatever you classify them as camp movies or schlock or trash films, whatever you categorize them. But there's a lot of movies out there that people love that Hollywood hates. Trolls 2 is an example.
Right.
There's tons of bad horror movies, Toxic Avenger. There's tons of those types of movies that pretty much. Horror is pretty much that entire genre.
Right.
Nobody takes horror films seriously.
No.
But we all love horror films.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, I mean, different versions of them,
Yeah, but
some people like the psychological thrillers, me.
Yeah, but
I like the slashers, but still, the point is it's a horror movie.
I like everything. But, other than, The Exorcist, when was the last time a horror movie got nominated for an Oscar? Has there been horror movies that deserved an Oscar nod? Probably.
At least one.
In between now and the time of
The Exorcist?
Yeah, definitely.
Probably. I mean, for more than just visual effects.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's able to evoke an emotion out of you, whether that emotion is fear or joy or empathy or shock, whatever it is. It does pull something out of you that you like, that you want to see. But instead, we go ahead and we nominate La La Land. it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
For reals? I
mean, like, you have this stare, and I think you're right about it, where Hollywood gets excited when a movie's being made about Hollywood.
Well, I think that's a side effect of extreme narcissism in Hollywood.
Right.
Where whenever Hollywood makes a movie about Hollywood, like, everyone in the Academy, because don't forget, like, by and large, they all live here.
Right.
You know, they all live in Los Angeles. So when they see things, they're like, oh my god, it's Cahuenga Boulevard. Or, oh, I remember that studio. It used to be on Highland. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Any of that type of stuff starts to happen. This whole, like, nostalgia thing kind of kicks in. And they're like, oh, I remember when I was, 30 and I was working as an AP and I was doing blah, blah, blah. And that's how those kinds of movies, like, gained tractions for the Academy.
Right.
Like, so that's why movies like The Artist and La La Land, and there's been countless others, that, like, really find a following inside of the Academy, whereas, like, literally the rest of the nation doesn't care.
Right.
They're like, we liked it because it was a good movie.
Yeah.
We don't really care that it takes place in Hollywood.
Right.
And to that end, I've always felt this way. I've always felt that, like, movies about Hollywood or movies about making a movie is, like, I feel like it's cheating.
Right.
I really do, because I feel like you end up using so much of the equipment that you rented for props and so much of the crew that you hired to make the movie as actors. Like, not always, sometimes,
right.
But not always. And it's no big deal if, like, the boom's in the shot and stuff like that. And it allows for, like, some corner cutting, in my perspective. It's just always kind of bugged me. I always felt like it was cheating.
I gotcha.
I was like, This movie, however, actually does a really good job in balancing that, where, like, that wasn't something that bothered me.
Right, because it was almost supposed to be like a documentary kind of a thing, or like
it had a very, like, cinema verite kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, over the course of time, it's like, this is the truth of events as they happened.
Right.
It obviously wasn't a documentary. It was very much
right.
Scripted and blocked.
No, yeah, I know that, but I mean, like, it was supposed to.
But it had that element of truth behind it.
Right.
Like, that nothing seemed so outlandish that it couldn't actually happen in real life. And if you were to tell me that that's exactly the way that happened on the day,
yeah,
I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Like that scene where he, oh yeah, by the way, totally forgot this. Spoilers. I think we forgot to mention that up top, like always. Spoilers.
Well, if you've seen The Room, you know. Okay, well, if you are aware of The Room's existence, and you can believe that movie was a pain in the ass to make.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say. Like that. There's that scene where, like, he's running around the set naked, where James Franco's running around the set naked, saying how the only way this movie's gonna sell is if the world sees his ass, and it was, like, right before the sex scene. Like, he's just being a pain in the ass, and then you're just like, wow, what a fucking douchebag. And then all of a sudden he starts trying to have sex with her belly button.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, first off, that did happen in The Room. He did try to have sex with her belly button. So I could totally see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was the weirdest combination of things for a movie. Man. I don't know. That one stuck with me. It was painful to watch.
What, the scene of the movie?
The movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That scene in particular.
Yeah.
But I've been on set with megalomaniacal directors and crazy producers and bad scripts, and this is why I don't really work in the world of, like, narrative storytelling so much anymore, because, like, people's creativity is very. I mean, you can get onto, like, big movies and big productions and stuff. I don't know. I just always like docs better. It's just my.
Alright.
It's just there's a little less adherence to words on a page. You can have more creativity.
I gotcha.
That's me.
So, moving on to that, I think we might be a little late on this one, but you and I are such big fans of it, we gotta, like, just touch upon it real quick. Because I think we've said all we needed to say about The Room, not The Room, The Disaster Artist, or The Room, whichever one.
Both. I mean, do you want to rate it real fast?
I thought we were gonna wait till the end for that one. But we could rate it right now. What would you give the movie?
I think it deserves an Oscar nod. I don't think it deserves an Oscar win, at least not for Best Picture or Best Director. I'm gonna go a little hot. See, this is the hard thing with ratings, because, like, I rate superhero movies highly on things that I like, and like rating movies like thought pieces and things, like I have a harder time.
Right. No,
like,
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Because I think like the last rating I gave was like 9 Goldblums out of potential 10 Goldblums for Thor Ragnarok, and now I feel like if I give The Room the 8, I'm saying that Thor Ragnarok was a better movie. No, you know what? Thor Ragnarok was a better movie. I'm giving this one an 8.
Yeah, I think, you know what, like, first off, I know I gave it a 7.5, but, like, that was only because with Thor Ragnarok, I was just personally upset that I saw the Hulk in the trailer. You know? Yeah, so, like, if I really had to give it if I had to go back and give it another grade, I think I would give it an 8.5, but I'm going to agree with you on this one. Like, I think as far as, like, doing what this movie wanted to do and set up and everything like that, I'm going to give this movie an 8 too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But now moving on to something much different than the Disaster Artist, The Punisher.
Punisher now? Yes!
That was so awesome.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes! So dope. If you haven't gone out to see The Punisher yet, if you haven't like lost that 14 hours of your life to watch Frank Castle, or Pete Castiglione, just absolutely
murderize people
so hard. He murderizes so many people in
know.
so many different ways, and it's always creative and fresh. He is the Jason of murdering people in the Marvel universe.
Yes, he is.
It's never the same way twice.
Dude, you know what was crazy for me too as I'm just watching this? It's just by the time the last episode comes up, he's just absolutely taking a beating. He had his face completely and utterly smashed in by Agent Orange. And then suddenly he's like taking bullets and taking knife wounds, and he's still like smashing some guy's face through glass. Like
that was one thing I had like a love-hate kind of opinion on that whole thing and it was like I hated that he got shot so many times and like was able to walk away. Like next season of Punisher, I'm pretty much convinced that Frank Castle is going to be dealing with lead poisoning. Like that's going to be the main plot line of like, Frank, you have so many bullets in you, you're going to die. Like that's what happened to George Washington. Like,
well then I might as well just go out and kill more bad guys before this lead poison.
But at the same time, like you couldn't have that show where he goes 14 episodes without ever getting shot or stabbed.
No, you couldn't. But I'm just like I think it was like the first time where like he actually took like a serious bullet wound to like his shoulder or whatever, and they had to remove it. Like I'm fine with that. And then I went like a few episodes later. It's just. The last episode, the second to last episode, he's being tortured with a lead glove or whatever that was. Like he gets his face smashed in, and like he's taking bullets, and like and this is all in like the last episode. I'm like, come on, seriously?
Yeah. That's my only main gripe about it. But overall, I thought it was a great show, and it did a really interesting. An introspective look at like PTSD from like multiple different like levels of it. I mean, given that it was all like a very extreme level of people that were dealing with PTSD, you know, like a damn near psychotic level of people dealing with PTSD. But it was really good. I think the action was really well paced. I don't think it ever hit a slow spot like Luke Cage. Or Jessica Jones did. It didn't have bad martial arts like Iron Fist.
Right.
But I mean, I would say it
actually had a story arc that just stuck together and made sense on like the Defenders.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Daredevil season 1 and 2, Punisher 3rd.
Yeah.
Some people might say Daredevil season 1, Punisher, Daredevil season 2.
I'm kind of like that, to be quite honest with you.
Respectfully disagree with that, only because I like the Punisher a little bit more in season 2 of Daredevil overall
than in his actual show.
Yeah, one thing about the Punisher long term, and it's like always been a thing in like the comics, is that he gets a little mopey, and he's always just kind of like one track guy.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like
I mean, like now that he has like. To be quite honest with you, like, I mean, I'm sure they could do something with it, and, like, if they want to go with the season 2 of The Punisher, fine, I'm game.
Right.
But at the same time, I wouldn't mind it if instead now that his whole thing with, like, I got my revenge on those guys that, killed my family, I'd be more okay with it now if he suddenly just becomes more of a secondary character again, in, like, the same sense that he was in Daredevil.
And that's one of the reasons why I really like The Punisher in Daredevil was... because Frank Castle is so, like, single-minded in
exactly.
that. Like he has one of two tracks. It's either like I'm getting revenge on the people that killed my family, or I'm killing all the scum and villainy of New York. And it's like, okay, but when you have a character like Punisher or Daredevil, Iron Fist, like any other like super, like the cast of characters around them allows for the expansion of other plot lines other than like I need to kill these people because they're evil, which is like okay, fair,
but like
is there anything else behind that, or like no, we just got a bunch of ordnance and we just need a place to put a bullet?
Because the weird thing about the Punisher is he's like the only superhero, quote unquote, that has no reoccurring bad guys.
No, because they're all dead.
And it's like the weird thing is though too is like Punisher kind of exemplifies some like the stories that I like more with superheroes because he's more of a vigilante.
Yeah,
you know, I always love like I know Spider-Man has his superpowers, but at the end of the day, he mainly is just taking down guys like the Kingpin, you know, more than less at the end of the day, or Daredevil, or Jessica Jones.
I always preferred street level superheroes, than like the cosmic entities fighting Galactus or the Beyonder or what, you know what I mean? Like the things that were gripped in reality. It's like, oh, the mob is selling heroin to school kids, like we're gonna have to take them down. You're like, okay, that happens.
That does happen. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Like Galactus is just hungry. He's just looking for a planet to eat. I mean, please don't eat Earth, and someone call, Reed Richards, but at the same time...
Because you know what my problem with...
a hard time connecting with that.
Because you know what my problem with those actually sometimes is just like, Galactus shows up on the doorstep of Manhattan and is just all, I hunger, I must eat everything, and why is it only the Fantastic Four dealing with this?
Right.
It's like, no, like, I'm pretty sure when big dude in a purple helmet shows up and says he's going to eat the world... Avengers assemble.
Right. Well, yeah, and I mean, it's also those kinds of stories that I feel like so much of the other like MCU gets left out. This was like it's like the whole thing with like
which is why Spider-Man was great.
Right, but like what's Punisher gonna do?
Right. I mean, so like on a little side note here, like I heard a rumor that Disney is planning on consolidating everything in their Marvel department. So in other words, like. They might just it'll no longer be Marvel movie division and Marvel TV division. It'll just be like Marvel on-screen media kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So if that happens, I would actually really like to see them. One would hope that they would take advantage of it, and I would love to see like a Spider-Man and Daredevil have to team up because the Kingpin is doing his thing and Daredevil and Punisher is just making a mess of things.
Right.
Like that would be sick.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting, it was nice to have the Punisher, which was like, it felt like its own island. Yeah. Like it was so consolidated. And like,
it just felt so far removed.
And it was fine. And it was like nice and streamlined. And it didn't hit a slow point. And it was like, it was cool. I mean, Daredevil did a really good job with that in the second season because they did a really smart job of like, it wasn't a team up. He was like, Punisher was interwoven into, they were rivals, but then Frank Castle was a client of Matt Murdock. Right. It wasn't the Punisher and Daredevil teamed up. It was that Matt Murdock is Frank Castle's lawyer. Right. You know what I mean? So they were intertwined on like both sides of their lives, which was like a really cool way to do it.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too. So like the team ups just for team up sakes, like.
Which is kind of what I felt like the Defenders became.
I was just gonna say that's what the Defenders was, and it was like I don't need that. Like the Defenders just like.
You know what it was for me? In all honesty, man, and I think The Hand was the worst part of the Netflix series.
Didn't make any sense.
No, like even when they introduced it in Daredevil was kind of...
No, I mean The Hand makes sense. I mean like what the Hand's overall plot was.
Yeah, no, it didn't make any sense. It just seemed kind of... It just seemed
revive a dragon that's deep below New York City.
It just seemed kind of like...
Power? What?
Like that entered what I like to call the realm of comic book dumbfuckery.
Yeah, that definitely did.
Yeah. I'm just like, what is... Okay, you know what I think really held it down too was the fact that what's his face? Two things I think held it back. Number one was Iron Fist became the MacGuffin.
Yeah, he did.
Which was and it was an awful MacGuffin too. You are the key. So like, is the key inside me? It's like no, like your hand is the key. Like you as a being.
Yeah, you are quite literally.
Literally key. And you know what the funny thing is? I know we were just talking about, and we've brought it up before, how. Like some of the Netflix shows like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, we didn't like how long those shows felt. Mm-hmm. I felt that actually maybe the Defenders could have used an extra like 2 episodes. just to flesh things out a little bit more, because I feel once they met, everything just got rushed.
It did.
Yeah.
It felt very rushed. But I don't know. I got super choosy with like the people I wanted to see on screen, and I thought the Defenders. We're getting a little off the Punisher, but just to wrap on the Defenders, I felt the Defenders spent a lot of time on the heroes I didn't like, and specifically the secondary characters that I just don't care about.
And they were all in the hospital. No, not the hospital. They were in the police station too. That's what made it feel really boring too. Was the fact that until like the very end, they didn't do anything. The only two characters I wanted to see do anything, the secondary characters, and they did towards the end, were Misty Knight and Colleen Wing.
Right.
And even that, like, I mean, Colleen Wing cut some dude's head off. That was awesome, but
yeah, no, I mean, cool, but you know,
like, I don't know. I honestly, man, I don't want Iron Fist season 2. I want like a Colleen Wing show.
I'm ready for Daredevil season 3. I'm cool with that.
That too.
Yeah.
But Luke Cage is coming out first.
That's
Luke Cage
fine.
season 2.
That's fine. I feel like Luke Cage season 1 I loved until, spoilers, Mahershala Ali died.
They killed Cottonmouth. Yeah.
I remember watching Luke Cage and being like, this is perfect. Honestly, like I was like, this is perfect. Like it's a great hero. He was a little dry at times.
Yeah.
So he was, but okay, whatever. Luke Cage, not super dynamic. It was okay. I'm fine with it. Great supporting characters. They had the barbershop that he was working at. Getting the streets cleaned up. Fighting like I said, low level crime.
Probably the best soundtrack out of all the shows.
I downloaded the entire soundtrack. I have a bunch of it still saved on my Spotify.
Right.
Yeah, it was all that late '90s dirty East Coast rap.
Oh, dude, that scene
so
where he just puts on the headphones and starts blasting Wu-Tang and makes his way through the warehouse.
Oh, he just pulls off the car door.
That was so awesome.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Right after that, I was like, I want to listen to Wu-Tang now.
I did. I always want to listen to Wu-Tang.
Because what is Wu-Tang? They're nothing to fuck with. Mm-mm. Nothing to fuck with. Yeah.
For the whitest kids you know.
Right.
But no, I thought that this season of The Punisher was it was as refreshing as the first half of Luke Cage. Yeah. I thought it was as good, if not slightly less good, than both seasons of Daredevil. Mm-hmm. And only because I'm a huge Daredevil fan, so I'm super biased. I'm not even gonna try to hide that. Always been a huge Daredevil fan. Fuck it, I still like the Ben Affleck movie. I don't care.
Fair enough.
Whatever. I thought what's his name did a great job as Bullseye.
Colin Farrell. Well, the best part about Colin Farrell as Bullseye is you could tell just how much fun he was having.
He was having a blast.
Oh my god.
Nobody else was having fun.
No.
And Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin.
Michael Clark Duncan was having fun too, actually.
He was.
In all honesty, rest in peace, Michael Clark Duncan.
And he actually makes sense as Kingpin, because it was one thing that not that Vincent D'Onofrio didn't do a good job, because he did do a good job, but just from the pure physicality of the role.
Yeah.
I remember in one of Kingpin's first appearances against Spider-Man, Kingpin flat out says you might think that I'm a fat guy who's 300 pounds, but this is all muscle, baby, and then takes the webhead and throws him through a wall.
Yeah.
And you're damn, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Wu-Tang Clan. Kingpin.
No.
Ain't nothing to fuck with.
No, and the thing is though too, it's he's just he's had no enhancements whatsoever.
No, he's just a dude.
He's just a dude who can crush Spider-Man, which is saying something.
Yeah. And he really could.
Which is why I want there to be a Spider-Man Daredevil team up.
Yeah.
Well, because people like to forget that the Kingpin was originally Spider-Man bad guy.
Oh no, he was.
No, yeah, I know. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I definitely think the Punisher. For me, honestly, I think the Punisher was actually just as refreshing as even the very first season of Daredevil. Yeah,
it definitely. You know what? I have to say, I agree. And the Punisher came at a time where I was feeling a little fatigued with this whole thing.
Me too. In all honesty, it almost made me feel don't get me wrong, I'll always enjoy a good team up here and there, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with the whole isolated story.
No.
I in all honesty, I felt it was very almost kind of contrived as to how Luke Cage and Jessica Jones ended up as part of being the Defenders, just a little bit, because we got how Daredevil was part of it. He went up, he fought the Hand. In fact, he discovered that the Hand were in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
I got him, and then there was Iron Fist, because he just loved to remind everybody that his job was to defend Kunlun and fight the Hand, even though he did neither one of them. So I got why he was there, but Luke Cage and Jessica, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, it makes sense.
Yeah, they did a good job.
They did a good job of working them into the plot line.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, they really need to be there.
Yeah, I'd be cool, handless for a little while. But I was definitely getting a little fatigued. Like Daredevil, seasons 1 and 2 were great. Half of Luke Cage was really, really good. The second half wasn't bad. It just wasn't as good as the first half. That's it. Jessica Jones just went on for way too damn long. Which Dave Tennant was a great Mr. Purple, but that show could have used like 3 to 5 less episodes.
Right, it could have.
It really could, because it was just Scooby and the gang catch the bad guy, and then he gets away, catch the bad guy, get away, catch the bad guy.
Once Hope killed herself, like they should have only had like one more episode after that.
They could have wrapped that up way sooner. But it wasn't bad. It just could have been wrapped up earlier. That was my.
It just felt like they had no idea how to end it.
Right. They just kind of kept like pushing it. It felt like they were just trying to fill time, and I hate that.
Yeah.
Luke, Iron Fist.
I think we've said it enough.
Yeah. Defenders was like, okay, it wasn't quite what I was hoping for, but I liked it enough, like, where I was okay with it. Like, I don't really like to talk about it, but I was like, okay. But then the Punisher, I was like, great. Now I'm excited to see what happens next.
Exactly.
Like, now I can't wait to see what, like, the next. I started rewatching Daredevil because I was like,
I think I might just. I kind of had an urge to do that too.
I just started watching Daredevil season 2, and then I'll go back and like watch like the first season of Luke Cage and rewatch Daredevil season 1. Like, I'll pretty much do them like in reverse order,
right?
Or like whatever order I feel like it, because I'm an American.
Do what you want.
I can do what I want.
Exactly. So, what would you give the Punisher?
Well,
as a whole,
I would give like both seasons, like cumulative both seasons of Daredevil, like 9.5 out of 10, because I thought they were that damn good. Punisher, I'd give like a solid 8.5, 8.7.
I'm gonna go with a solid 9 in all honesty.
Yeah.
Punisher. Yeah. I mean, because you see, my whole thing with with Daredevil season 2 was, I don't know. I got to go back and rewatch it. It's just like the whole thing with the hand just kind of was. I don't think it was. It wasn't the hand. It's just like there were things about the Punisher's story, though I liked him in it. Like there were just things that just didn't make a lot of sense to me. But then again, it was probably just something I wasn't paying enough attention to. Mm-hmm. I definitely think the first season of the Punisher, Daredevil, was way better than the second season. But again, the Punisher was the best part of the second season. Especially that scene in the prison where he's going through the hallway and the Kingpin thinks he leaves him for dead.
Right.
That was awesome.
Right.
Hallway fights forever, Dan.
Hallway fights forever. But I thought, I think it did a really good job of like Daredevil season 2. We had Punisher, we had Kingpin, we had Daredevil, we had a little bit of Hand. We had some of the mob still stuff, kind of clinging around for a little bit.
Yeah. I just feel like based on what they did in Daredevil, they did a really good job of offshooting it.
Yeah.
And the big thing I loved about, I'm actually digging about these Netflix things is, so, like, the weird thing was like when Arrow first came out, people were, like, happy because they were like, oh, hey, like, this is actually kind of a gritty show, like, just the way we want a vigilante. Then came Daredevil.
Right.
And everyone was like, oh, well, screw you, Arrow. Like,
right.
In fact, so bad that, like, when Arrow ended its 4th season, which was the worst, the subreddit for Arrow became Daredevil related, which was hilarious to me. And that happened 3 years ago. It's still hilarious to me.
Was that 3 years?
2, maybe.
2.
Still. It was hilarious.
All right.
And so, moving on, we'll just make this last one quick. What might be the most anticipated trailer in a while dropped this week. The Infinity War trailer.
It might be.
In fact, I watched it like 4 times already. In fact,
I watched it 2. I watched it twice.
In fact, I might watch it again before we leave. The Infinity War trailer, which, that got me hyped.
Get that man a shield.
Who the hell are you guys?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this movie, but until I see Thor with a hammer, I'm only kind of excited.
I don't know if we will see Thor with a hammer anymore.
I don't know. He might do like the whole Odin son thing where he's got like the big ass war axe.
That'd be badass.
Which is still cool, but it's not Mjolnir, so Thor without his hammer is just kind of like, it's like Spider-Man without shooting webs, or Captain America without a shield. It's
exactly.
Like, I mean, the dude's still...
Or Van Halen without Eddie, like...
Right, exactly. AC/DC without Bon Scott, like...
Well, I mean, they kind of carried on without him.
Yeah, but the early AC/DC stuff was the best AC/DC stuff.
We can argue about this later, but I am arguing Back in Black and For Those About to Rock were great albums.
Okay, and
everything after that was
I'm saying Jailbreak was their best one, so.
Alright, well, we can argue this later. At any rate,
yeah, so, no, I'm super stoked for that. My only fear is that it's just one of those movies that's just going to have, like, so much in it that it's just going to be completely overwhelming.
I'm under the impression that this movie is where they're going to start cleaning house. Big time.
People are just going to start dying off and retiring.
Well, you saw the trailer. I don't think Vision's coming back. And Vision makes sense just because he had the Infinity Gem stuck in his forehead.
Right. And he's got the whole love triangle thing with Wanda. It's not really a love triangle. It's just the two of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know. That was always weird to me in the comics anyways. That was always a really weird thing.
Yeah, it's like he's a robot.
Yeah, they had a wedding and they made a big to-do out of it in the comics.
Yeah, I know.
Like, yeah.
And then they got divorced.
Yeah, which, like, do you have to get a divorce from a robot? Like, does...
Well, I mean, they were legally married, so I guess.
They were legally married?
I guess. I think. I don't know.
Like, I'm not going to get... I mean, I'm of the whole category that, you marry whoever you love. Like, that doesn't matter to me. But I'm just wondering, like, the fundamentals of it. Like, he wasn't human.
Right.
Like...
Could he even love?
Well, I think, like, on a marriage certificate, don't you have to put a social security card? The social security number?
I don't know.
Does the Vision have a social security number?
I don't think so.
See, these are questions I need answers to. So
Right.
we're getting Joss Whedon on the phone now.
Right.
He's not going to be able to answer that one, I don't think.
No, and I don't
We're
think
going to need, like, Joe Quesada.
Right, Joe Quesada and Stan the Manly himself.
Oh, Stan Lee would be like, yeah, of course he does.
Right.
$75 for this question.
Right.
God bless you, Stan.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm super looking forward to it.
I think everybody's looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. But it's also one of the things where I'm very aware of, like, Avengers Age of Ultron went.
Because of how bloated it was? Mm-hmm. So was Civil War to an extent. But
same thing.
But Civil War...
Have you tried to, like, rewatch Civil War?
I love Civil War.
I can't get back into it. I just can't do it.
I love it. I can definitely watch... It's in my top 5 of the favorite Marvel movies. I
just want to see, like... So, say Cap dies, what I'd really be looking forward to, because he's always been one of my favorite characters, is like an isolated Winter Soldier / Black Widow movie.
I could be down for something like that.
That would be super dope. Like, give it to me, like, in flashbacks of, like, Soviet Russia, when they were both operatives of the USSR. Yes.
I'd be down.
Yes.
Da,
comrade.
So...
Seize the means of production. Down with the bourgeoisie.
Must do.
Moose and squirrel.
Moose and squirrel.
Moose and squirrel.
Alright, we probably should start wrapping this up. So how about just, I don't want to actually rate this trailer. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hyped are you for this movie?
Solid 10.
I'm going with a 13.
Okay.
Why? Because it's my goddamn show and I can do whatever I want.
You're an American.
And I'm an American. Alright, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us today. The usual social media stuff, all 2 of you who listen on a regular basis. And by 2, I mean you and me, Dan.
Yeah.
Kyle Daley 1987 on both Twitter and Instagram, or you can follow us on the Daily Chat on Twitter. Alright, guys, that's going to do it for us. Dan, once again, as always, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Alright, and I'm betting the next movie that we review is going to be Star Wars, probably, so...
Yeah,
We'll talk later, yeah. Alright, everybody. See you later. Bye.